Welcome to Creative Power, a podcast designed to help you claim the full spectrum of your creative potential. I'm Camilla Fellis-Arnold, and I'm passionate about discussing how we change the face of both the creative industries and how we interact with creativity itself, so that it nourishes our soul and helps us express ourselves with alignment, flow, and authenticity. Let's get started. Welcome to episode 4 of Creative Power. Today I'm really excited to share with you a concept that has been with me for a very long time, and it is the concept of Meraki. Meraki is a Greek word, and it's sometimes described as being untranslatable. The gist is that it means to do something with soul, creativity, or love. Meraki is to pour a piece of yourself into what you're doing. You put all of your love, your devotion, your knowledge, your care, your attention, everything goes in. A little piece of your heart is going into what you're doing. It apparently originates from the Turkish word merak, meaning labour of love, or to do something with pleasure. Now, I have Cypriot heritage on my father's side, so I learnt about this word many years ago. Being a creative person, it has stayed with me almost like a pulse check against anything I'm making or doing, not just because of my heritage, but also because of its meaning being connected to creative pursuits. Meraki originally has often been used in reference to cooking, baking, or preparing a meal. Someone would say that their yaya, which is Greek for grandmother, their yaya had baked the cookies with meraki. It's the idea that she has poured her love, devotion, everything into it when she hands you that plate. Have you ever eaten something made by a relative and it tasted absolutely incredible? So you've got the recipe from them, tried making it yourself, but it never quite tastes as good, even though you've used the exact same ingredients, the exact same method, but it seems to be missing that je ne sais quoi. You can't put your finger on it, but it's not quite the same. That is Meraki. It's like a secret sauce that gives things a special quality. It's the love that your grandma puts into making and baking those cookies for you, and you can't get that back because the unique piece, that extra secret ingredient, was her. While often it's used to describe cooking, Meraki as a concept can be used for anything creative, or anything where you pour a little bit of your heart into what you are doing, whether that's creating a piece of art, wrapping a gift for a friend, or organising a party for someone even. It's in the love, the care, the time, thought and effort we put into doing it, and it lives on in the memory of the people whose lives you've touched with it. Isn't that lovely? And it's what we aspire to do as creators or creative people, is it not? We want to channel something of ourselves into our work to give it meaning more than just being a pretty thing that we've made. The Meraki makes our work unique. It's what comes through in our work. It's our unique voice, our own style. It's our legacy to the world. And that little piece of you that lives on in what you've created, it speaks to other people too. It's how we find meaning in art and in other people's creations. Think about a song whose lyrics have made you cry, or a photograph or a painting that connects you to the person who made it. Imagine going into the garden of your family home, and what you are seeing is visual evidence of memories of the love that your grandparents put into tending the garden. How they thought carefully about where the flower beds would go, what they would plant and where. All of those little pieces of their soul lives on in it. And this links back to what I was saying in episode 2 about redefining creativity. And I feel that Meraki helps to drive home my point about redefining and opening up creativity as a concept. Because working with the intention of Meraki can be used to describe everything from cooking to creating art to organising a party for a loved one. All of these are creative in different ways and use different skills to bring them to life. I think it illustrates how creativity can be so many different things. It's not just writing, sculpture, drawing, painting, photography. It's all of those other activities that we pour ourselves into in a loving way. So, why is this concept of Meraki important? Well, it's important because as artists, as creators, as creatives, it is something that we strive to do. It is how we communicate, how we express ourselves to other people. It is how we soothe our souls by channeling these feelings and leaving a piece of ourselves in what we do. It's also important to be aware of that because then that can lead to fear, to being afraid to share our work, to show the world what we have made, and to be visible. Meraki can be part of the reason why we are afraid, because we know we've left a piece of ourselves in that poem or that song we've written. It's in the painting, the sculpture, the novel. We know that we poured a piece of our heart into the cake that we baked, so we're afraid of what other people might say. We are afraid because not only are they judging the quality of the work or whether they like it or not, what we feel is that they are judging our souls. They are passing judgment on who we are and how we feel. They are validating it or invalidating our emotions, our thoughts, our very existence. And that can be terrifying. I get it. I really, really do. This fear can become paralyzing. So what do we do about it? I think the most important thing to do is not to hold back from doing anything with Meraki just because you are fearful of someone else's reaction or judgment. You can choose whether you share it with other people. But don't stop the creative creation process. Don't stop the act of Meraki before you even got to that stage. It's also important not to hold back because you feel burned out. That's something I've done myself in my design practice over the years. When you get feedback to change something, it can feel personal. I know. I felt it. So you disconnect your attachment to the work, stop pouring the Meraki in. And the result I found in my own freelance work was years of just churning out things that felt empty to me. Yes, they fulfilled the brief. Yes, they made the client happy, but they didn't set my soul on fire because I was holding back in order to protect myself and my feelings. What I'm trying to say in one way or another, whether it's through fear, exhaustion, or something else entirely, as creative people, at some point we stop being satisfied with what we are doing if we are not doing it with Meraki, because our essence, the flavour of us, is missing. Now, I think there's a third option. I think that there's a way to make peace with being able to pour yourself into whatever you're doing and still put all of your love, devotion, time, effort, thought, knowledge, care and attention, pour all of those things into whatever you do and not be afraid to share it. And most importantly, to not feel depleted by sharing it either, because that can also be another issue. When you're working and channeling emotions, feelings, memories, etc. from these deep-seated places in your soul, it can be exhausting because you are bringing up all of these emotions, feeling all of it, and then leaving a little piece of yourself somewhere. That can be really, really tiring, particularly when you are dealing with the judgment of people, wondering what they are saying, what they are thinking about it, or what you are doing. So I think it's important to learn to detach. And once you've created that piece or put your all into something, then just let it go. Know and acknowledge that you have poured your heart and soul into it. And then when it's done, take a deep breath and let it go. Let it be finished. And once it's finished, give it some space. Give yourself some time away, because you can't see it objectively because you're still caught up in all those feelings. This works really well for writers. I've found that when you've finished your manuscript, instead of going straight back in the next day to edit your first draft, just take a few days off from working on it. Giving yourself some space can make a massive difference in your ability to look at it objectively, to be rational, to be calm about it, and not react from that same set of emotions that you were in when you created the piece, because you were living it. So take a step back and detach yourself from the outcome once it is done. This detachment not only helps you improve your creative flow and reduces the tendency for burnout, but it can also give you the ability to share with the world that you're so afraid of them seeing. So give yourself some space to do the things that recharge you, that replenish yourself. Think about self-care. What makes you feel nourished and energized? The thing about Meraki is that often you give a lot away in the process. You give away your love, your energy, your emotion, your time, and people can tell because of how it makes them feel. They know when your heart is in it, or if you're phoning it in, because people can instinctively feel your vibe and know that you're giving it your all. And knowing that makes us as creators want to do everything with Meraki. And that can sometimes be depleting, as I said, particularly in a world where it's hard to feel and be valued as a creator. I think there's also this protectiveness piece that we have around the work that we do when it holds a piece of our soul. This can make sharing all the more difficult. So we hold on to the work because, like I said earlier, it can be scary putting it out there into the world. But the truth is, once you've left a piece of your soul in something, you can't take it back. And neither should you want to. It's there for a reason, and it is beautiful as it is. Not only that, but even if you could take it back, you'd never be able to take it back in the same way. So I think part of the process of Meraki, after you've created or done something, is then to learn to reshape yourself. You reshape and reshuffle yourself around the fact that you have poured a piece of yourself into something. Isn't that beautiful? To think that there is a piece of you living out there in the world separate from you, and it will continue to live on. Think about, beautiful pieces of artwork, a photograph or a song where the creator is long dead. Yet we can still connect with that person regardless, because they made it with Meraki, and without it, the creation wouldn't still move us in the here and now. To me, that makes Meraki a timeless concept. It means that we can cross the bridge between time and space and reach out to anyone, anywhere, and they will feel us, as I hope you are able to feel me right now, and the Meraki that I am pouring into this episode. Meraki is also a really good pulse check for everything that we're doing. And this is where I hand it over to you. Where is Meraki in your life? How can you bring it more into your life? Maybe you've been feeling like there's something missing in your life, that you're just turning out the same old work, nothing new. Maybe you feel empty and you want to get in touch with some emotions. Perhaps you are struggling with emotions and need to channel them in some way to let them go. Perhaps you feel depleted because you've given too much of yourself away and need to start setting some boundaries. Maybe you want to look at how you can use Meraki to express yourself more authentically and connect more with your audience. For me, I found that when I restarted my creative practice of writing poetry in the past month, I found that pouring myself into my writing actually improved my creative flow, because, to be honest, I have been very stuck with the words over the years, and I found that by tapping into all of those feelings and really pouring something of me into the work actually allowed those words to flow more. And I appreciate that tapping into those feelings, it's not for everyone, but there's so many ways that Meraki can be beneficial once you give yourself permission to create and act with it. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this as you consider how and where you can invite Meraki into your life. So do reach out, send me a message, connect with me on social media, and let me know how you are going to embrace Meraki in your creative practice and your life in general, because honestly, when you do, it is so rewarding. It really is. Or perhaps you're already doing everything with Meraki. Let me know how it's going. How does it enrich what you do and your practice? How does it help you connect with your audience? What does your audience feel? Have you noticed a difference when you create a piece of work with Meraki and then you create another piece without it? Do you notice a difference between how your audience reacts to the piece or to whatever you're doing? I'd be really interested to hear your stories, so please do share with me. And that's it for this episode. I do hope that you've enjoyed learning about Meraki. It's a very special topic to me. I try and bring myself back to it as much as I can because it means so much as a creator. And it's like that beacon of light, that homing beacon that you come back to. Am I doing things with Meraki? How can I do more things with Meraki? I hope this has given you some food for thought about how you can bring it into your life. And I'd love to hear your stories and thoughts, so do get in touch. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Creative Power today. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and consider leaving a review. To find out more ways you can connect or work with me, please visit www.camillafellisarnold.com/creative power.